session we will talk about the global leadership competencies. As we have seen right from the beginning, that is the talent management is the different from the human resource management in terms of the selected employees only. So, naturally your leadership style has to be customized and changed according to the your talented employees are there. So, this will be the impact of the globalization on talent management that we will see. Global talent management, challenges facing global talent management strategies, main challenges faced by the employees of Infosys, the 5 key global leadership competencies are there. Now, in the now here you will see that is the talent management has been the slogan since you can say after these 91 itself it has become very important that in the liberalization, privatization and globalization it becomes necessary for the organizations to identify the talented employees. So, therefore, for HRM this has become the slogan, and talented people want to work with others who share a desire for learning and development. L&D is becoming very important nowadays, that function that you are supposed to work with the employees from whom you can learn, you can share your knowledge, and as a result of which the whole organization that grows. Unless and until any organization is not having this strong L&D department, first condition is this, that they should have the plan, they should have the calendar for training calendar, and many organizations even that is this L&D has made compulsory as a part of their performance appraisal, that how many hours you have spent in learning and development in this particular either calendar year or financial year, whatever the appraisal year is there. And if there 40 hours are not there, then definitely it will be taken as a negative remark. So, that has become compulsory to train yourself. Then it depends on the employee that in which area he wants to develop himself. The opportunities to knowledge new cultural thinking. So, we normally talk about the European culture, Asian culture, USA, Australia, right, and Africa, and like these different continents we talk about, and every continent is having its own culture. The countries are again having their own culture, that is true, but even if continent wise also we will see that is the different businesses are there. Now, how these cultural thinking and approaches to working have been taken care. So, cross cultural exposure that has become very important, and as a result of which when you are managing the talent, and it is normally the organizations the people are coming from the different culture, either from the within India or from the outside India. So, cross culture is there, and to the working in global or virtual teams. So, global teams are there. Now, even in that case when we are talking about that is the companies are working in the night because of their time management with the USA and other countries, then definitely your virtual teams are also getting an exposure to the cross cultural the conditions, working conditions, and because they have to interact with the either the customer, the clients, bosses, they are from the different countries are there. So, if that attracts that can prove the attractive the creative minds. So, minds are creative. So, if the minds are creative, then definitely it has become very important, that is that exposure to the cross cultural of this global level, right, that has to be noticed and to be used for the betterment of the organization. Competitive advantage, that is a competitive advantage. Competitive advantage in the global marketplace has developed as global competition. So, therefore, when our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji say that is it is the vocal for local and be global. So, therefore, in that case that whatever the local conditions are there, first please take the exposure to the at the global level, and then give that advantage of that knowledge, information, that exposure, understanding and advancement, right, to the local people. So, I will also like to mention here one thing, that is the since few years you will find it is the reverse immigration has started. So, in last 5 years you will find that is the people are from the USA and other countries, they are coming back to India, and they find it is the here is the for the entrepreneurship, right. The government is strongly supporting that is the you come back, you get the exposure, you learn there, you have spent there the 8 years 10 years, right, and then you come back to the India, your own country, and then develop the manpower here, and get the support to the give the support to the economy, national economy. So, therefore, the developed as a global competition has been also strengthened. To compete effectively at home or globally, a firm often must organize their activities on a worldwide basis. This is very true. That is the if you are participating into the worldwide the competition, then you are supposed to have that particular strength, and as a result of which that is strength of the global strength, global with the local. So, then that you will be having the upper hand into the worldwide competition. Due to the strengthening the concept of war for talent, companies are observing to themselves as attractive employers, and therefore, in that case they are becoming the practices where they are able to attract at the global level these employers. They are also gradually shared their global talent management programs through their websites, and the job advertisements are there. Now, we will find there are so many websites are there even for the academicians. So, there is a particular platform, and in that platform you will find that is advertisements at the global level are coming, right, and then you can apply there and you can get the exposure from the outside the India also. Similarly, for the different countries you will find there are the different opportunities, and in education system also in the new under the new education policy, that global exposure is going to increase either from the India to outside or from the outsiders to the India. So, this type of these exposure at the global level that has been encouraged and increased. Similarly, these talent management programs through their websites, that is also becoming very popular. So, whether it is through the online courses are there, or their websites, they are making the selling of the products, are bringing the customer and manufacturer at the common platform, and these all talented the employees, they are making an effort, so that get the global platform for in the competitiveness. Global talent management involves organizational activities for the attracting, right, selecting, developing and retaining the best employees in the most strategic roles. This is very important. First, we will talk about the organization for the attracting the talent. We have talked about that one concept, it is the employer branding. Even the talented people may not have that much exposure about that company, but the enough exposure is there to get attracted towards the top notch companies, or you can say Fortune 500 companies, or you can say like the Google, Apple, Microsoft is there, right, or in India you will find it is the Tata Group's companies, or the Infosys is there, and so many companies are there, IT companies are there, automobile industries are there, right, automobile industries with the, like we talk about when the Maruti or the Hero Honda and all. So, therefore, a number of examples are there where there is the international exchange is there, and the global talent is working in India and outside India. So, and then selecting those now in the selecting, if you remember, we have talked about acquisition, talent acquisition, and in the talent acquisition session I have talked about the psychometric test, and through the psychometric test you can find out whether the person is the having that ability to work in the cross culture or not. He is understanding the different cultures, and then working with the people from the different culture by understanding those type of the psychometric tests are available. where you can test them and you can find out and select the employees. Developing and retaining the best employees in the most strategic roles. So therefore, the talent has to be developed, and when you are making the development of those employees, then the best employees are to be there. Already I have talked. So that if you remember, we are talk about the acquisition, right. So that is the acquire is there, deploy is there, development is there, and rewards are there. So most strategic roles to achieve organizational strategic business. The corporate level strategies. If the corporate level strategies, the talented people are there, then definitely the organization will be having the vision also and the flourishing the business also. Business priorities internationally. This take into account differences across countries. So therefore, they know that is the, if they have to work in India, they have to work in the China, they means international companies have to work in India, into the China or into Japan or into Singapore, then definitely what type of the practices are required and how talent should be managed, and those employees who are working in these countries and especially the local the talented employees, then how to manage them, that is also to be seen at the corporate level in the talent management practices. Global talent management involves global competition for the talent, managing new forms of international mobility. So nowadays, now you see work from home, virtual working hours, virtual teams are there, and therefore there is no need exactly to go to physically to these some places. Many times you can work from your own country only. So that international mobility, that is also affected. Improving the organizational capability to manage the talents in emerging markets, right. Now what are the emerging markets in current scenario? We can talk about the healthcare industries are there. Elaborating the new corporate HR roles, and in this context, when there is a global and virtual teams are working and internationally they have to work, so then it requires, that is the HR, corporate HR has to reframe their policies for this type of the employees, and also understand that is the how to attract and retain the talent. Challenges facing global talent management strategies. In the 1990s, high demand for talented employees had been recorded, but due to the shortage of global talent employees, it surpassed the supply. And till today also, not only in 1990s, till today also we get these reports and we read this type of the news, that is whatever the demand of the industry is there at the global level, that type of the talent is not available. So one side there is the unemployment, other side there is no suitability of the employment. So these two aspects that has to be checked. So one side we have to give them the global exposure, we have to ensure that is our local talent, right, that has been nurtured through the learning and development up to the expectations of the organizations. If you are able to give them that particular platform, then definitely the talent will be recognized. First thing is there. Second one is this, that is the, whenever we are talking about the matching of the talent with the organizational needs, we have to also understand the future organizations. What are the future organizations are there? Now recently we have seen in the some universities, in spite of the engineering, the art sections are having the more preferred by the candidates, applicants, and therefore many students have taken the admission in arts as compared to going for the maths or science. So why it is so? Because they understand that is the future requirement will be of the self sustainability, entrepreneurship, and the working into the different area, especially in the service industries, right. So like example is the healthcare is there, hospital is there, tourism is there. So if you have to work in those areas, then definitely you have to plan your career path accordingly. This shortage of talent, that is the one side, there is no exposure, other side there is no matching of the demand. Talent put the focus on how to acquire, retain and manage talent in the global business is there, that is the major issue is there. This challenge came to be labeled as global talent management according to the Mercado in 2017. Nowadays, the situation for organizations are complex, dynamics, highly competitive and extremely unstable. And all of us know that because of this corona time or because of the economic recessions, it is becoming, the businesses are becoming the very complex and dynamics, and who will be able to sustain, right. So, there is very difficult to say, and a highly competitive environment is there. So, sometimes you find the organizations are growing like anything and suddenly that organization collapse. So, the reason is that there is extremely unstable, and because of the extremely unstable and probably remain for the coming years also. So, it is not the question of the 2020 or 2021 only, right. It is likely to be this maybe up to the 2050. So, therefore, next 25 years, unless and until that step it is very difficult to say that what will be the stability and what will be the businesses which will be sustainable. In addition to these external conditions, most organizations are also facing several global challenges, right. Due to the continued reform of organizations, organizations are getting the reform again and again. So, sometimes they are increasing manpower, sometimes they are reducing the manpower. The leadership styles are changing, the planning is totally changing, planning is many times is becoming the obsolete function. Due to the reform of organizations and the rapidly increasing economy, organizations are the challenging against each other to obtain and retain talents to sustain their task and continue to grow. So, like pharmaceutical industries. Nowadays, we talk about a lot about the pharmaceutical industries. So, therefore, in that case, the talented manpower, right, that remains same. We have seen in this corona time about, that is the vaccine creation or the medicines for these people, those who are having the infection. So, therefore, in that case that those talented people, right, their task to retain them is becoming very difficult. Again, when you are talking about the IP creation, intellectual property creation in pharmaceutical industries, it is becoming again a challenging task. So, global talent management, main challenges faced by the employees of the Infosys are, here is the example. And there is no job security at the time of recession, too many employees leading to layoffs and restructurings on the one hand, and not enough talent leading to talent crunches are there. So, these the complex business dynamics and instability and then the sustainability is in the question. So, therefore, there is no job security. So, too many employees leading to layoffs and restructuring on the one hand, and not enough. So, therefore, not enough talent is there, and as a result of which they find the lack of talent. So, business, what is lack of talent means? There are the business problems, but there is no one to handle these problems efficiently and effectively. So, what is the solution? A solution that is reflective of the regional needs to ensure localized compliance. Ultimately, you have to see that is the you have to develop talent locally and suitable flexibility, so that whatever the decisions you want to take, you can exchange those decisions accordingly, and cultural adaptation. So, that is the Glocal, that Glocal culture adaptation, that is become the necessity is there. It is difficult to attract and retain suitable management talent to run the global operations, because skill sets of international operations are more complex. Now you can say that is the give them the exposure to the global level, but then there is a complexity also, and therefore, as a result of which the skill sets of the international operations are more complex, and while the skill sets at the local level, they are much easier because they are known, they have been learned. Global talent management is more demanding than the domestic talent management, right. So, therefore, it is becoming the highly demanding skill sets, and the cost of the failure far higher in global companies. Now, you hire the talent. So, the talent is hired at a very high cost, and suppose that talent is not able to adopt the global practices, then in that case they will be the failures in the higher global companies. So, it has to be taken care of, that is the when we that there is a complex, highly demanded international global talent requirement. So, what is the solution? Even with the most stylish talent management technology solutions. So, therefore, when you are about the artificial intelligence, that nowadays what the human talent replaced by the AI. However, the bottom line is that technology cannot help an organization overcome poor people practices. So, you can give a very high tech instrument to the person to run, but that person's skill sets to be enough capable to run that instrument or equipment, that machine. If he is not able to run that machine properly, his skill sets are not there, like it has been seen, that is the international operations are more complex. So, suddenly you change your the software level 1 to 4, then the whether the bottom the technology cannot help, like you are reached to the 4 level level of technology, then an organization overcome poor people practices. People are not used to, they are not capable to adopt that particular technology, to run the technology. So, therefore, poor people practices are there. The first step in effective talent management is to ensure that the human element of human resources, that is the human element of human resources is not ignored. So, please do not forget the man behind the machine. So, your machine will be high tech, but the man behind the machine, whether he is high tech or not, please consider. So, that human element you have to consider. The foundational elements of the strong leadership. So, getting work influence the behavior of others, getting work done from others, that is very very important. So, strong leadership, engaging managers, again with the vigor, absorption, dedication and that commitment, that is the engagement that is required, and robust communications will go further than any robust communication, keep in contact. So, what is the solution for the facing the international global operations? Your strong leadership, engaging managers and robust communication, that will do go further any functional improvements that advanced technology could bring, and therefore, that is only possible, that is the if you are considering the man behind the machine, and then you are having that strong robust communication, leadership, engagement, then definitely your functional improvements will be there for the advanced technology what you have brought in your organization. To develop the effective leaders and manage the talent supply chain, organizations must formalize their leadership development process. So, special leadership programs are required. Your common leadership programs will not work with the talented people. So, the bosses, those who are by virtue of positions, they are the leaders, right? Those who are influencing the behavior are the seniors in the organizations. They must formalize their leadership development process. How to formalize, that we will see further in the other slides, and therefore, that leadership development process that has to be taken into consideration and ensure their leadership program goals are aligned with their business strategy. Now, again there is organizational strategies, business strategies, and there is a individual leadership strategy. So, that alignment is very much required. So, these are the 5 key global leadership competencies are there, that is the solid leadership skills, glocal mindset, flexibility and extra gear and self awareness, and the reflection is there. So, we will go by one. Solid leadership skills. As I mentioned, that is in the global talent management, there is a technology is complex, and the man behind the machine, that we have to take the human element, so that our leadership style that is to be solid. What does it mean? That is grounded in the solid management experience to be equipped with a toolbox, means what? Filled with all the tools and processes that are also used in traditional locally oriented leadership is there. And in the traditional locally leadership you will find that is the you are concerned with the person, servant leadership, and that type of the approach is very much important. Otherwise, by saying that is we are giving you the best machine, we want the best output, that is not enough. That your intervention as a leader with the human element, that is very much necessary. Second one is the Glocal mindset. Apart from having a solid grasp of the traditional leadership tasks, the global leader needs to have a Glocal mindset, that is the exposure to the global, working for local, right. So, our prime ministers these words are there, and that is the Atmanirbhar Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So, therefore, in that case when you integrate this concept, we will find that is a Glocal mindset is becoming the necessity of the time. So, you have to compete at the global level, keeping in mind the local manpower. Next thing around the solid leadership skills at the center. A Glocal mindset is about the possessing a global mindset, but in such a way that the local level is also valued and acknowledged. As I mentioned, exposure to the global and local values and local level is also recognized. In other words, the global leader needs to understand the simultaneous need for the global integration and local sensitivity, right. So, therefore, in that case that is the we have to integrate at the international level, and the local sensitivity is required and work to reconcile this duality. And this involves an appreciation of the both diversity and uniformity. So, one side there will be the workforce diversity, and like in India what we say, unity in diversity. So, therefore, that unity in diversity, the diversity in uniformity that is required, and in India already we have that particular culture, and the realization that innovation and best practices can emerge anywhere in the organization. Naturally, you have to identify the new practices, new types of the complex situations, and new solutions will be keep on emerging. Third one is the flexibility. Apart from a solid grasp of the traditional leadership skills and a Glocal mindset, global leaders have to be able to adopt their leadership style to produce in many different situations and context. Flexibility is there, and that is called the HR flexibility. In the HR flexibility, that leadership flexibility basically, in the HR flexibility it becomes very important, that is the as per tuning, you are making the tuning, you are working accordingly to your followers. If your followers they are able to understand what is expected from them by the organization, and the leader who is the bridge, leader who is providing the guidance, leader who is the influencing, and then if he is flexible. So, it is not like that he is having the single leadership style, rather than he is flexible to change his leadership style according to the maturity level of the followers. So, we have talked about this in the Arsene Blanchard's maturity leadership model also. There are the different the maturity level, and according to the maturity level the leader has to perform. So, this flexibility will be becoming very much important. In other words, they need to be the agile, right, and therefore flexible and adroit in the way in which they apply their leadership skills. The way they apply their leadership skills, that has to be seen. The exercise of global leadership is generally based around the same challenges as traditionally local leadership is there. So, what is a local leadership challenge is also matching the followers and leader. So, that has to be matched, and on top of this the global leader then faces a number of challenges that arise out of the increased complexity associated with the global dimension. So, number of challenges are there which are increasing the complexity with the global dimensions. If the global dimensions are there, then they are working accordingly. As global leadership is not simply traditional local leadership practiced in a different context, global leaders need to be constantly developing their leadership skills and mindsets are there. Now you see this, everything is flexibility means everything is keep on going to be the change, and therefore that local leadership in the global context, in the local context, as per the situations and as per the technology development, that needs to be constantly we have to change and develop the mindsets are there. Now an extra gear, a next level, right. So therefore everyone reaches up to a particular level by his own capacity, but dear friends, to going to the next level, to be the next level, am I a step of a next level, and for that I have to L&D, I have to go through the L&D, learning and development, I have to get trained myself, and then only I will be going to the next level. So that is that then usual to deal with the physical separation, and particularly to build bridges across divides in the form of time zones and different locations. Cultures and objectives in the global organizations are there, and therefore we have to go for the extra gear, and that is the next level. How to reach the next level, I will discuss further also. There is a need to consider one's approach and do something new and different to achieve the same results. Something new and different to achieve, something new and different, right, and therefore your creativity, that has to be reflected. Everybody is doing the job, but the way you do the job, excellent impact is there. So that impact factor, that has to be seen. In both cases it comes down to making an extra effort, going the extra mile, that is very important, extra mile. So you always you have the extra mileage in the mental as well as the literal sense, in order to build bridges over the differences and potential chasms that make global leadership so complex. And finally, we will talk about the self awareness and the reflection is there. We need time for the reflection and time to build up, develop and maintain our global leadership skills. The vital need in global leadership is for the global leader and a leadership team to maintain their global readiness to be able, the self awareness. We should know that where do we stand, what is my strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. I have to also know the TOS matrix, I have to also know the SWOT matrix, and then they are able to see themselves from the other person's viewpoint, how the other persons are perceiving and what they are expecting. Reflection is about learning from the challenges faced and experience gained in the leadership role. So naturally, when you will be doing certain jobs, you will face certain challenges, there will be certain comments, there will be certain suggestions, you have to get the incorporate, there may be the success, there might be the failures, and the leader, but he does not stop, he continuously go towards this trial and error process, and ultimately he leads to the global talented employees. So this is all about the competencies and global level management competencies, number 1, and we will discuss further the case studies in our next session. Thank you.